Hi, how are you today? This is Jose Guzman. I'm a marketing bachelor student at the Tech University of El Salvador, Central America. In this opportunity, we have selected the Andale Restaurant. This is a Mexican restaurant that operates in El Salvador market. It has been over there already for about 10 years, and they already have 4 branches. So they're opening one branch in approximately every 2 years, which is a very good growth potential. They have already demonstrated that during the pandemic, they not only survived, but they started to expand to other cities in the region. I will be discussing two different parts of the business aspect. The first one is operations, and the following one is going to be importing goods directly from Mexico. So let me start with the food cost and the labor cost. These two different costs that affect negatively or positively the result of the operation are very important. The food cost should be around 30% because you need to offer the quality of the experience, flavor, freshness for the customers. The labor is the people that work directly over there, from the store manager, supervisors, assistant managers, waitress, waiters, etc. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but it should not be a lot of that number because the owner needs to make money at the end of the month as well. They also have overhead costs, for example, the fixed expenses like the rent, electricity, gas, insurance, etc. Going back to the food cost, this includes all the edible ingredients and also the packaging. For example, if you want to buy containers to go, you also need forks and knives and plastic spoons, plastic bags or paper bag, whichever is your selection, that is already included in the food cost. The following item is for the inventory management and FIFO rule. FIFO stands for first in and first out. First in, the products that are perishable, for example, you have 3 gallons of milk with different expiration dates on each. So you got to put in front of the fridge door the one that is going to expire first. So you minimize the waste of that food in the garbage can or in the sink. If you're putting that in the garbage, you're putting money in the garbage because a gallon of milk right now is around $5 in El Salvador supermarkets. You need to train people how to handle food, how to manipulate food, and avoid contamination. The contamination in the food safety area comes in 3 different presentations. There is biological contamination, physical, and chemical. An example of chemical contamination, if you are eating strawberries and they used to fumigate it with agrotoxics, you're running the risk of getting cancer or some other foodborne diseases or illness because of that product. Biological contamination might be a bacteria, and the one you're looking on the picture right now, that's a salmonella. It is very dangerous because you can get it in tomatoes, meat, eggs, poultry, chicken, dairy products, like cheese and yogurt. It might kill people, if you get attention from the doctor, you might be lucky, but it can also send you to the hospital and the cemetery as well. I am afraid of this one because there is a big responsibility that the food handlers gotta have on a constant basis. Another dangerous bacteria is E. coli. This one is also dangerous. And let me go back to the thermometer here. Okay, the red zone is called the danger zone between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 4.4 to 60 degrees Celsius is where that bacteria gets happy, build communities, and multiply and make you sick if you eat that food. In fish, you can also reproduce that milk. That's why it is recommended, if you are grilling a very thick piece of meat, you can put the thermometer inside the meat. If the internal temperature for pork reads 181 degrees, Okay, the bacteria already died because the temperature already killed them, but you cannot eat that one. So if Andale Restaurant wanted to import the goods directly from Mexico, Andale will need to utilize some of the international codes that identify the products. These are called the harmonized system. The codes are international standardized numerical codes used to classify traded products, facilitating consistent identification and description for customs purposes like taxation and statistics. They are managed by the World Customs Organization (WCO) and form the basis for import and export classification systems worldwide. So these are very important. The first two bottles you saw over there in the picture are tequila and triple sec. The triple sec was invented in France, but since it is one of the key components of the margarita drinks from Mexico, and the one is offered at the Andale restaurants in El Salvador in their four locations, it is very important to see if it makes business sense to import from Mexico directly. As far as the tequila code is 2208.90, triple sec liqueur 2208.70, dried chilies and dried fruits 0904.21, jalapeno pepper 0904.21.60.20, poblano pepper 0904.2140, dried hibiscus. It comes in two different presentations. The second one is ground and the first one is just dry, depending on the use. The dry one is 1211.90, 1211.99 is for the ground version. The chipotle is not one specific kind of pepper, but it's smoked, it's the process of smoking the dried pepper. It can be different kind. For the product, it is 0904-2160.90. That is on the Mexican side. All right. So the merchant from Mexico needs to have the following certification from the Consejo Regulador del Tequila, CRT from Mexico. The labeling, the origin, it has to be from Tequila. Jalisco is one of the municipalities there where that raw material for the tequila is cultivated for decades. As far as the dry chiles and hibiscus product, they must comply with SENA-SICA phytosanitary regulations, and they need to get a certification for that, for the proper packaging. Remember, if it's food, we should not contaminate it biologically, physically, or chemically. As far as the transportation and logistics, whichever you select, for example, air freight or sea freight, which is cheaper and slower, but you gotta make sure that the packaging and label is in Spanish for itself, the customs. In the timeline of the trip of the product from Mexico to El Salvador, the Salvadoran counterparts need to do the following. And they need to be importer registered at the DGA, the Dirección General de Aduanas, and obtain the sanitary registration from the Ministry of Health for consumable products, alcoholic beverage required import license, health certificate, label, approval for alcohol content, the percentage of alcohol, the origin, and the warnings for health issues. As far as the dry fruit, on the El Salvador side, they would need the certification of origin. And if you are signatory of the Free Trade Agreement, in this case the CAFTA, for Central America and Dominican Republic, you can get a very good deal for that. Some of the duty taxes is going to be reduced to zero, but you have other taxes, for example, the VAT or IVA in El Salvador is 13%. As far as the custom clearance, you need to hire a licensed custom broker in El Salvador side and provide the following documents: commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, certifications of origin, health, and phytosanitary. The bill of lading, let me explain a little bit more on this one, and I put a description here because I really wanted to share it. To me, it was new actually on the last 48 hours. I learned this thing. It is a crucial document in shipping and serves a receipt of goods, a contract of carriage, and a document of title. So it tells you who the owner is. It is essentially the boarding pass for goods being transported outlining the details of the shipment and the agreement between the parties, the Mexican company or person who sent the product, and also the Salvadoran counterparts. Okay, this is my participation for the project.